Okay, I'm back again. Now, this is find the product of the binomial factors using special products. So, in this case, what we want to do is I want to go ahead and square this. This 2 right here means that there's 2 of them. So I have 3x plus 5y times 3x plus 5y. Now, in reality, we can use special products, but I don't think most teachers would mind if you just did FOIL. Okay? So let's just go ahead and do this using FOIL. All right. Using FOIL, we're going to get 3x and 3x is going to give me 9x squared. Okay. And then I'm going to do my outers, which is going to be 3x and 5y, which is going to be plus 15xy. Then I'm going to do my inner, which is going to also give me another 15xy. And then my last is going to give me 25y squared. Now, this one right here, let's talk about this. A lot of times I see students do this one, and whenever we did this one, see how you get 3x and 5y, you get 15xy. And then you do this one, you get 5y and 3x. Sometimes I see students write this as 15yx because of the order. That's y first, and then there's x. But then I see a lot of students at this point, and what I'm writing in green, whenever you have 15xy plus 15yx, they think you cannot add these two together, when in fact you can. The order does not matter how you write xy or yx. It doesn't matter one bit. You're still in the end going to get 30 xy or yx, however you want to write. Most people do it in alphabetical order, xy, or they say x comes first. So they usually just stick to the xy. But I'm just letting you know that don't think that if you did it this way, that they are two different things and you can't combine them. You still can. Alright, so I'm going to erase all this. Just a little side note here. Okay. And so then down here, I get 9x squared plus 30xy plus 25y squared. Okay? At this point, there's nothing else I can combine, so I'm finished. This is my answer. And I'm done. Move on to the next one. Alright, this next one is asking us to simplify using properties of exponents, and our answer should contain only positive exponents. Well, here's the deal. If your exponents are negative where they are, they don't belong there. So just like we talked about, if you had x to the negative 1, you'd rewrite that as 1 over x. Okay, but these are both negative. So one of the ways that we can deal with this is we take this and we flip it completely. Notice now the x to the second is on the top and the x to the 6 is on the bottom, and they're both positive. You could do that. Okay, so if they're negative where they are, they don't belong there. They belong in the other spot. You just flip them. Now from here we can go ahead and simplify. You do 2 minus 6, okay? You get 4 in the bottom because that's where the bigger ones are. Alright, so 1 over x to the 4th. Or if you wanted to do this and you got x to the negative 4th, you still would end up rewriting it as 1 over x to the 4th. It's however you want to think of it. As long as you're doing it one of these two ways, you're going to get the right answer. Okay, so you think about it. Bigger x's stay in the bottom, or get the negative, change it. Okay? Alright, let's look at this next one here. Okay, this says write 4.239 times 10 to the negative 6. I just threw that negative in there, okay? In decimal form. I wanted to give you one that was a decimal. Alright, so now we're going to work backwards. So I have 4.239, and I'm looking at negative 6. So if this is a decimal, how do I do this? Alright, well, unlike the positive big numbers, right? With positive decimals, you're going to be going to the left. So I'm going to count to the left 6 times because I know it's going to be small or a decimal. So I need to go to the left here, okay? So I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put a dot. Anywhere I see a hoop, I put a 0. See all the zeros in the hoops? Okay? So this one, the answer is 0.00004239. Now some students like putting a 0 out front, and that's okay. But don't count this 0 in one of the 6 whenever we move this. Don't count it whenever you're doing that. Okay? So I usually don't write it. This is how I write my decimals. But if you like writing your decimals like that, go ahead and do it. But this is how many it should be over. Okay? Now the next one is I simplify the expression using the properties of exponents. Okay? So we have 4x and we have b to the minus 2 raised to the third power. Now, the order here is not that important in how we do these. Sometimes people like to go ahead and multiply those exponents right away and then change it, or sometimes they like to change it first. Let's go ahead and change it first. So I'm going to make this positive. I know it's the negative 2, which means it's 1 over b squared. This goes to the third power. Now, this third power is not applied to the 4. This and this do not go together, okay? It just goes inside the parentheses here. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this to the third power. So 4 stays out here, 1 to the third power, b to the sixth power, because you take the 2 and the 3 and you multiply them together. 1 to the third power is just 1, so that's going to stay the same. B to the sixth stays the same. Now I'm going to multiply this 4 in. How do I do that? I treat it as 4 over 1 times 1 over b to the sixth, and I multiply straight across. So I end up getting 4 over b to the sixth. Don't make it more complicated than it is. I had some students saying, oh, is that 4 over b to the 24th? No. We don't want to multiply this 4 with this exponent. Okay, leave that alone. What I circled is the final answer. Alright. Next one says multiply the polynomial by the monomial using distributive property. So what I need to do is I need to multiply this in here 3 times. So the first one, negative 2x cubed times minus 4x squared, is going to give me, multiply the numbers, negative 2 and negative 4 gives me 8. X cubed and x to the second, whenever I multiply them, I'm adding the exponents and I get x to the fifth. Alright? Then I have negative 2x cubed times x, which is going to be minus 2x to the fourth, because I'm just adding the 1x onto that. And then I'm going to have minus 5 times negative 2 is going to give plus 10, and tack on the x cubed. Now, all three of these, none of these can be combined together, okay? So, this is my final answer. Just like that. Okay, this next one says perform the indicated operation by removing the parentheses. Now, earlier I said that if you have the situation where there's a minus, you're going to have to do some work. We have to distribute this minus sign into the parentheses here before we can actually remove it. So I have minus times a minus 1, treat it like that, okay, times a minus 9x squared. That gives me a positive 9x squared. And then a minus 1 times a positive 1, which gives me minus 1. That's how those change. Now the first set of numbers don't change at all. X squared 6x plus 4. Because there's nothing on here being multiplied into there, okay? Now, here I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms. I have 9x squared and x squared, which gives me 10x squared. Cross those off. I don't have any other x's to go with the 6x, so I just add it on. Okay. 4 and negative 1 gives me a positive 3. And that's it. That's all I do for that. Now, the very last one is simplify the properties simplify the expression using properties of exponents. Make sure we have positive exponents. So the one that we're really going to have an issue with is this one here. Now, this is 5x to the minus 5, y to the 4th. This, with the negative 5, is only being applied to this right here. This 5 and this y to the 4th have nothing to do with that negative 5 exponent. Okay? So, I just need to change this stuff here. Make this 1 over x to the 5th. On the outside, I have a y to the 4th and a 5. If you notice, whenever I multiplied the 4 by that 1, they went to the top. So, if I want to think about it, these are both over 1. When I multiply straight across, I have 5 over 1 times 1 over x to the 5th times y to the 4th over 1. So here, I get 5 times 1 times y to the 4th, which is just 5, y to the 4th. And in the bottom, 1 times 5 to the 5th times 1, which is just x to the 5th. Can't combine anything, so I'm finished. Okay, this is the last problem on this one, Kim. This concludes everything that should be on the review and possibly on the test for test 4 for Math 111 Intermediate Algebra. As I usually say, the best way to study is to go over these problems again. Use my review as a nice way for you to go back and look at stuff if you get stuck or if you get lost or you just can't remember how to do it. But watch my reviews, do the review yourself, work it through, because that's the best way to learn is with practice. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and good luck.